All right, ladies and gentlemen, I have a heavy pour because we're about to get into some serious football talk. But before we do that, I just have to touch on our success as a team this golf season. We're up 105 units, and for a $100 better, that is $10,000 plus. You're not getting that type of service anywhere else.
No, like where do you find that? Like I was telling you guys before we came on, like you go through your Twitter accounts, go through your Instagram accounts, go to all the betting and pick accounts, like find someone that's up 100 units on a season
for
And
free.
that's for free.
Yeah.
All you had to do was follow us on Twitter and then maybe listen to us a little bit on YouTube, which that might cost you a little bit of your time. Come on, it's still free. And not to mention, boys, we put together some of those winnings, and we bought some of you fans some Eagles tickets. Home opener against the Vikings. We have 2 tickets for 2 loyal fans. All the rules are going to come out on how you can get those tickets in a couple weeks once the Birds excitement starts to get there. But yeah, I don't know anyone else that does more for the people than Take Your Pick. I don't. You show me another YouTuber that does this type of shit.
They don't exist.
They don't exist. So we're gonna dive deep into the AFC and the plays that we love going into the season. I'm coming in hot, and I said this last year, and I'm sticking with my guns. My favorite bet going into the season is the Kansas City Chiefs to miss the playoffs at plus 180.
That's hot because you started off and I was like, oh, he's taking the safe approach on that division. Then you missed the playoffs at plus 180. You have that? What book is that at?
FanDuel. I think it was plus 160 right now on DraftKings. But guys, Sean, you and I have talked about this maybe once a week since the Super Bowl. That division isn't one of the toughest divisions that we've seen on paper in the last decade.
It's up there. I mean, it's up there with some of those NFC West divisions in recent years when you had Wilson and Carroll in Seattle, San Fran with they had good teams. Arizona, it's pretty competitive. I think it's the toughest division in the NFL. I think it's going to be the most entertaining. So my question for you, Mike, would be like, strength of the division aside, which I think it's kind of hard to argue that it's not the strongest division in the league going into the season.
Mm-hmm.
But what is it about the Chiefs themselves that has you not only them not winning that division, but also missing the playoffs and the wild card entirely?
You know what? My thing with them is the first place schedule in the AFC, just off the bat. That's tough, very tough. You got to play the Bengals, the Bills, and the Titans, which is probably a win this year. But then you dive into who they play in the NFC, and it's all the big dogs from the NFC. There aren't that many of them, but they're playing all of them. Their schedule from start to finish is brutal. There are no sleeper games in that schedule. And for that number, give me plus money in that division. Those 6 games are all coin flips this year. And then you have to go play the Rams, the Bucks, the boys, the Bills. It's, to me, they have the hardest schedule in football.
I could run you through it. You got
I got it right here. Don't worry.
Those NFC teams that you mentioned.
I'm a pen and paper guy. I got it.
Old school, I know. But those NFC teams that you mentioned, like Buccaneers, I mean, opening up with the Cardinals, and we'll get to the Cardinals, but we know what the Cardinals are like in September. They're a football team in September because doesn't strike midnight until at least at the end of October for them. We got the Niners on that schedule. I mean, that's the Rams. That's tough. Seahawks. I mean, they're playing the West, and then they got the Bucs and a couple other tough teams. So that's really tough schedule.
Yeah, Mike, I'm in full alignment with this bet. Me and you have been talking about this all summer, and we haven't even hit on my favorite part of this bet is they lost arguably the best player in the NFL, the most explosive player in the NFL, the most dangerous player in the NFL. Tyreek Hill's not there anymore. If you're going to substitute him with Mecole Hardman or whoever the hell else they got, it's not enough. And Andy Reid's not going to run the ball enough. the way that I think they should. I really don't. Like, he's going to need to run the ball 17, 18 times a game. They're going to run it 8 times a game. They're going to leave Mahomes out there to dry. I don't think it's a recipe for success.
You made a really good point there. So he's not going to focus on controlling the clock like he's like really never done. Andy Reid is the second best football mind I've seen in my life, arguably. They lost the heart and soul of their defense.
Tyron.
I would say their biggest playmaker for sure. They lost their biggest playmaker on offense, and their division went from there's one or two other cute teams to the other three could all win the division and win the Super Bowl. I just don't see how they can make the playoffs with their out of division schedule. To me, at plus money, I'm taking that bet. No ifs or buts about it.
Close to 2-1. That's not bad. I mean, you look at that receiving core. You got Juju, Smith-Schuster, Mecole Hardman, Marquez Valdez-Scantling, your top three. You got Sky Moore, the rookie, coming in. And then I don't know how much you're expecting out of Josh Gordon, Corey Coleman, guys like that. But, I mean, those first three names don't really wow you by any stretch of the imagination. I really don't know what you have in Moore as a rookie. I mean, we'll find out, soon enough. But you still have a huge target in Kelsey. You can't forget that. We'll obviously draw more attention now that Hill's gone. But I think to your point, like Mike, like it's a real test for Andy Reid. Like, what can he do with these options, with these weapons, and really, what can Patrick Mahomes do? So for me, like, I'm really interested to see, like, we've tracked Mahomes throughout his career. Like, we followed along and playing him, fading him, and to see him go into this season with this surrounding cast, I think it would be, if he were to win the division and really maybe even make the playoffs in the wild card, I think it'd be really impressive with the cast around. So I think I'm interested to see what Mahomes could do out of it.
Yeah, before I one of my favorite plays, second favorite play is actually in the division. But we've seen Andy Reid do great things with worse receiving cores as Eagles fans. James Trash and
Todd Pinkston, Freddie Mitchell.
Oh my God. So, I mean, when you talk about the top three that he worked with the Eagles, I don't know. I really don't like that team besides Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelce. Besides that, it's like whatever. Everything else, it's like you could take it. Sean, I know you agree with me on this. I'm putting a unit on the Raiders to win that division. At plus 700, you're just counting them out of that division. That's crazy to me.
I agree 1,000%. I mean, they might not win the division, but you can't tell me the disparity is as big as the odds are showing it. I mean, everyone else is a plus 180 or a plus 220 last time I checked or something like that. The Raiders aren't that much worse. They shored up the pass rush with Chandler Jones, and you got Max Crosby. So you got two real pass rushers. Added Devontae. Should have a healthy Darren Waller. Hopefully he doesn't take the second half of the year off. I mean, they should be Hunter Renfrow. You can't double anybody on that offense, or they're going to make you pay.
No, they're going to move the ball for sure. And if they're able to get up on you with that pass rush, that's a major problem.
I see him at 650 right now. You got the favorites being the Chiefs at 175, Chargers at 220, and Broncos 260. I have the Chargers written down as my favorite in the division. It's like, I don't know. It's the same thing every year with the Chargers. Are they going to put it together? Are they not going to put it together? They have all the talent in the world. Is the defense going to show up? Like, I don't know. I think there's finally, I don't want to be that, every year, finally enough there for the Chargers to get through. But I don't know. At the end of the day, I think the quarterback, I think Herbert takes another step. I like them at 220. I don't buy in on the Chiefs. I'm not sure if I'm completely on the other side of you with them missing the playoffs, the Chiefs. But I also don't hate the Raiders at 6.5 to 1. I mean, just a little sprinkle on there. You could even play Chargers and the Raiders and still make out fine if those are your two stabs at that division. I like the idea of the Raiders. It's interesting because I've seen them a couple articles, things popping up about their win total. I think they're I think they're around 8.5 right now on their win total. So, man, it's a tough division. It's a tough division, but it's hard. It's hard to see them not being able to put something together, at least on offense, with the offensive side of the ball, like what you mentioned, Adams coming in. You still have Waller, who's a big-time playmaker. And I think, not to get too far ahead and get into like fantasy stuff, but I think Derek Carr could have a sneaky good year. I think he's got enough around him. He's got enough experience. He's got enough around him. Maybe get a little bit more stability in the coaching room. Hopefully, I mean, it's going to be new at the start. We'll see how that goes. But they had that whole mess last year with Gruden and Bisiglia, and it was a mess.
And Ruggs.
Yeah, right. So
I forgot about that.
There was nothing but drama with them, and they just heart and souled their way through the whole season.
How do you not give that man the head coaching job?
Yeah.
Why do you They did our fellow Paisan wrong with that.
I think he's in Buffalo.
I think so. I was just about to look it up.
He's in Buffalo or LA, I think, in the Chargers. He's at one of those two, I think.
Oh, I was.
So, I mean, he's probably he's doing all right.
Rob, my one thing with the Chargers is I think they have the best roster on paper going into the season, but we've been saying this about them for how long? That's like when a team's playing Alabama, like Georgia. We took Georgia, but that was just like straight fade everybody else. But it's like until you show me you can get there, I just can't believe that you ever will. That's how I feel about them. And honest to God, I mean, right now you look at their team and there's really no excuse for them not to win a Super Bowl. That's how I would view this season if I'm a Chargers fan, Super Bowl or bust.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I mean, yeah. I mean, the expectation would be to win that division, right? They've been knocking on that door. They've actually played the Chiefs pretty well in the last couple of years. Their window is like now. It's open.
And
I expect them to cash in, take advantage of it.
And they got to do it now because the recent NFL for the most part has been win with a young quarterback on his rookie deal. At some point, Justin Herbert's, they're giving Deshaun $250 guaranteed, and everyone knows what the hell's going on with him.
He might not even show.
Herbert might get
26 women
in 2 years.
Yeah.
If
look at the Chiefs, right? So, Mahomes signs the deal, was the beginning of last year, and now we're already starting to see the fallout from that, right? And how the team takes shape around him after a large quarterback deal. So, to your point, Sean, Chargers don't have much time left with Herbert, right? That you got to take advantage of that rookie contract. The Eagles, sure, circumstances are different when the Eagles went to the Super Bowl, but again, another quarterback on a rookie contract. They got to take advantage now.
Yeah. No, I agree. They cannot afford that payroll with a real quarterback deal. That team is loaded with talent.
Yeah, way too much high-end talent to sustain that. While also paying a quarterback $250 million.
Yeah.
Sean, you're going to see 5 big-name dudes have to leave there.
For sure.
At least. Honestly.
Yeah, they got Derwin James, Joey Bosa, Khalil Mack, Keenan Allen. Austin Eckler.
Mike Williams, but –
yeah,
man, that team is so good.
They're loaded. I refuse to put $1 on them until they prove that this is the year, but they should be one of the best teams in the NFL.
Derwin James is quietly my favorite defensive player in the NFL. I love watching that dude play football. And when he's healthy, he reminds me a lot of Eric Berry, who's my second favorite safety to ever play football, behind Brian Dawkins, of course. Pay homage, but he just does everything Eric Berry did. He'll lay you out, ball hawk. It's just everything you want in a guy that's playing the second level of your defense. I'm so mad that Prime or Apple didn't get Sunday ticket this year. I need to see every single AFC West game on my TV.
Right.
That's going to be must-see TV. Every divisional game is going to be a bloodbath. All right. Let's flip the script a little bit.
Wait. We got to touch on the Broncos. We got to say something about the Broncos.
Yes.
Do we
at least
have
say
to?
how we got to say how we feel. Are they going to be good, average? We just got to do at least something general.
Let's talk about your feelings. Let's go.
Kick us off, Sean, because I'm glad you brought that up. What do you think about Russell Wilson over in Denver?
I think they should be good. I worry about the young receivers a little bit, and I saw one of them got banged up. I forget which one it was the other day. I think they should honestly, in my opinion, they have the best defense in the division, I would think, and arguably the best quarterback in the division, who is probably a little bit slept on, in my opinion. I think
You
they're
think-
going to be. What'd you say?
You think he's the best quarterback in the division?
I said arguably for sure.
It's a strange argument. I like the defense thing. I totally agree with.
That secondary is vicious.
This is nasty. I mean, that defense is very good. That defense won them a couple games last year quietly, and like nobody really gave them credit. But man,
Well,
And they have
for
the
just
run
a couple
game.
Years, the past couple of years, the Broncos have always been they're the quintessential like just a quarterback away, right? Like you got decent pieces on offense that you'd like to see what you can get out of a KJ Hamler, a Cortland Sutton with a better quarterback,
Jerry Jeudy.
as well, right? You got 3 guys that are ready to take a leap. That if you've had a quarterback back there that can get them the ball and make plays, then you got 3 talented receivers that might be able to make a jump there. I know Williams. I know like the running backs are half. Gordon came back. Like, you could expect a stable there. Like it always seemed like they were the like just the quarterback away from putting it together, especially with the defense that you mentioned. But I have the Broncos written down. I love the under 10 wins. I saw that.
We're giving them 10?
10 on DraftKings.
No way. No
right
way.
now it's minus 105. Yesterday when I looked, it was plus 105. So it's back a little bit on the juice, but under 10 Broncos wins. I like that a lot. If you could find it still at plus money, I'd slam it. I like
What my biggest concern about the Broncos is? Their marketing team. Making Russ do the Broncos team. Let's ride. Let's ride.
That's a real concern too. They're setting him up.
What
That's
are you?
not good for the locker room, the team morale, all that shit.
He's already one of the corniest dudes
Right.
in the NFL. Don't make him do corny things.
I haven't seen it. I've heard about it. All I keep seeing is the picture of him walking the training camp with the fucking Batmobile behind him. Like, I get it. You're in the Rockies, but like, God, man, it looks like seriously. It looks like Christian Bale's Batman's like, Batmobile rolling down the streets of Pittsburgh out in his parking lot out there in Colorado. It's crazy. Right. They got he's got like a monster truck sized tire sitting on the top of the fucking car.
If he wasn't with Sierra, he'd be the biggest cornball in the league. Mike's official stamp: Broncos under the wins. Broncos to miss the playoffs. Fuck the Broncos. It's just like I love the defense, but like Russell Wilson. When I saw that video, I'm like, dude, that cute shit's got to go. I'm riding with Herbert, and Derek Carr showed me he was a rider. And Sean, how many years have we talked about him? And you know how much I've hated him for
Derek
so
Carr?
long.
I've lost a lot of money last year betting against Derek Carr.
Dude, but he proved me wrong week in and week out last year. I'm rocking with him. That's my horse in the race in that division. I mean, to bet the Chargers, I can't even be mad at you for that. The Chargers are, I think, the best team in football. It's just a matter of, are they going to win the important games when it matters most?
You think Chargers are better than Bills?
That Chargers defense on top of that, I think they have the best roster in football. I do. You can argue either side, and I'm not mad at you for saying the Bills at all. But, I'm taking Josh Allen over Justin Herbert any day. But the rest of that Chargers team is loaded. All right,
okay, I'm not mad at that.
Enough about them. Let's get into a different type of division. And I'm putting a bet on them to win the division and the Super Bowl. And that's the Indianapolis Colts. I have them to win the division at minus 120 and to win the Super Bowl at 22-1. Totally different conversation that we're going to have. So their schedule may be the easiest. You have 4 free wins. If you lose one of those games, Frank Reich should be fired. You have 4 free wins.
That division's tough.
And then you need to split against the Titans. And outside of that, they don't have to play the first place schedule. To me, they need to get a first round bye. Where I view that season as a horrendous failure.
For sure, they definitely need the first round bye. They are. It's another team you could add into the most talented roster in the NFL. That team is loaded. Outside, they could definitely use a second receiver, but their defense should be very, very good this year. That's my favorite bet of the offseason, them to win the division. The Titans, like, I just don't buy without an explosive A.J. Brown. I mean, we saw when he went out last year. I mean, it's hand the ball to Derrick Henry and whoever the hell they had behind him, and they weren't going anywhere. They were scoring 10 points a game. They were trying to win with defense. You're not going to win 10 games like that. You're not going to win a division like that, I don't think, in my opinion.
I'm bullish on the Colts with you guys. I had them written down too. I think so. Kudos to you, Mike. If you snagged 120 already, I saw 135 before we hopped on for the division. I think it's a little short. I mean, not that I really expect Tennessee to beat them in that division, but I mean, I think it's maybe a combination of how bad the other two teams are projected to be as well. But so what I'm going to write down, what I have locked in is Colts over 10 wins plus money at plus 105. So I like them to go over 10, just kind of in line with you guys are thinking, win a division. I think division winner, even in that division, I could see at least 9 wins. I think it's 10. So I feel comfortable with taking the over on the Colts there at just over plus money.
Yeah, I think you take the over on the Colts and pretty much, or you back the Colts in almost any angle you can going into the season. That's how I feel about them. And
Brian's just going to give you more stability at the position. Like, we've been through the Wentz thing. We know what that's like. Like, I was shocked to see like it get progressively worse from Washington to Indianapolis. Like, just like the same mistakes, the same thing. So, but having Ryan come in, there's a couple weapons. The weapons don't wow me on the outside. Obviously, you have Taylor, who's the best running back in the game. So I think the balance is going to benefit them the most between the run game and the pass game. I think Ryan can make enough plays, and at the same time, again, just steady that offense, anchor it.
Yeah, do you think this is the year that I think he could actually get one this year? And it really is. This is so premature because it's all going to depend on how the seeding folds or how it all plays out in the AFC. But having home field advantage and a bye in that gauntlet, because those teams that make the playoffs, every single one of them could win the Super Bowl without a doubt in my mind. And there's going to be 3 teams that don't make the playoffs that I viewed as I wouldn't be surprised if they won the Super Bowl. You know what I mean? I mean that conference is so loaded.
The whole AFC. But these weapons, man, for Colts, that's what gives me the most pause. I mean, I like the defense. It's solid. Can usually expect that from the Colts year in year out. They were solid last year. I like the upgrade. I think Ryan is an upgrade over Wentz at this point. I would talk about John Taylor, but their number one receiver is Michael Pittman Jr., who I think is a solid young receiver. But if I have, if I'm the favorite to win my division and have aspirations of going far in the playoffs, and Michael Pittman Jr. is my number one receiver, I'm not feeling great about that. Like, I don't know about you guys, but I mean, look at this depth chart. You got Michael Pittman, Paris Campbell, Alec Pierce. I know one of those guys. Bo Alley Cox is the tight end. And you have
a sports show podcast. You only know one of those receivers.
One of those.
Shame on you.
I'm sorry.
I'm with you.
Desmond Patton, Kiki Kuki,
now do the Titans receigers.
Right?
Yeah, go look at the Titans receivers, and then go look at the Texans receivers.
Yeah.
And then the Jaguars paid $80 million for Christian Kirk.
Bro, get out of here.
It's just it's such a bad division. I just think they're the most balanced team overall. Really not even that close to me.
In that division, absolutely.
Right. Yeah. In that division.
Yeah.
My biggest concern with them is Frank Reich going to win the chess match when it matters. Vrabel's had his number. I love that. That's the only team I'm putting a future bet on to win the Super Bowl because I see real value, especially I view them being in the second round of the playoffs for free. So then you instantly have value and hedge opportunities depending on who they play. What we're forgetting the most important part. You have a top 3 O-line, top 3 running back, decent game manager, very good defense. Top 3 defense, probably.
It's the OL. It's the OL that makes a huge difference for that offense, especially for Ryan coming from Atlanta. I mean, we saw the videos. It was it got hysterical to a point where every week he's just blowing up on the sidelines at his offensive line. I don't think he's going to have the same problem in Indianapolis. I think he's going to get a lot more protection. He's going to be a lot more comfortable in the pocket, allow him to do his thing in the pocket. It's just whether or not these guys on the outside can make plays for me. That's what the only question mark with the Colts. But again, like you said, that balance and having the running back with the veteran quarterback, the strong O-line and defense, it's still enough for me to be bullish on the Colts.
They'll be in the driver's seat in 90% of the football games they play. It'll come down to a couple games whether or not one of their wide receivers can make a play for them. And I think Michael Pittman's a good wide receiver. We'll find out this year whether or not he's a great wide receiver.
Well, I can't tell you who the second option is because, like, if you're going to focus on stopping the run and just maybe shade a little bit of attention in the secondary towards Pittman, like, that's how. I mean, how else would you play them? I would make,
you
one
have
of these other guys beat me. Like, I mean, what else? I'm going to stop Jonathan Taylor and I'm going to put my best cornerback with a little bit of safety help on Pittman. Tell Matt Ryan to beat me somewhere else.
No, I agree. I just don't think there are enough bodies to plug the middle and then double cover Michael Pittman. Like, you need 8 in the box with that offensive line and Jonathan Taylor.
And you don't even necessarily need to double cover Pittman. I mean,
But I'm just saying, like, on paper, I'm looking at them, and that is, to me, one of my favorite horses in the race for the whole NFL. But enough about them. I need to touch on this guy needs a statue in Philadelphia. Okay? But where they have his football team projected to finish this year is blasphemy. So that's Doug Peterson in Jacksonville. They have him projected 6.5 wins. Give me the under. Sean, we talked about this a million times. 4, 5, maybe. They'll sneak a couple. They'll be scrappy this year. They'll be a shadow of what the Lions were last year. But I think they'll be better at finishing out a couple more games. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I think they'll be an actual football team this year. I mean, last year all we heard about was Urban Meyer. The Jaguars did nothing except get blown out. I think they'll be a real football team. Doug will, bring them back to some sort of relevance. But, I mean, they're overpaying for people. They just don't have enough talent. Like, they can't be good even if they wanted to.
Yeah.
No, but I think they'll be a generally decent football team.
Rob, 6.5. 6.5. You go from...
I know, and you're putting this on me like in fucking August. Like, it's August 9th and you're asking me to jag off already. Like, of course I'm ready to like, all right, let's go.
They'll still cover 14.5.
Right? Like,
but they ain't winning.
Can I get a regular season cover total? Because I'll go over 6.5 for the Jags, hands down. Outright wins, I'm not taking over 6.5. Under 6.5 at 130. I have a 130 right here on DraftKings. I don't see them winning 7 games.
No way. No way. That's crazy. The Lions are a different story, and that's still way too high, but, like, you got Hard Knocks dropping with them tonight, and I know. So, okay, hold on. I know this is an AFC cast. The Birds play the Lions week 1. I was very hesitant about that game, and I was like, that's a little trappy. But now with the Lions having the Hard Knocks exposure, they're going to be a consensus general public darling week 1 at that number. Give me the Birds. Give me the Birds. Because everybody falls in love with the team that they follow in Hard Knocks that offseason.
Yeah.
That's a fact.
That's a bias. But I've always thought, like, even as a Eagles fan, I've always felt like betting markets are generally bullish on the Eagles. Like, I don't know. I've always thought that the bettors do tend to favor the Birds. Like, just I don't know, when looking at line stuff, but it'll be interesting to see how they open up. And I'm excited for Hard Knocks.
Okay. I have one more official play, and then there's one division I have no idea. Give me the Ravens plus 160 to win that division.
I love the Ravens.
Don't even talk to me about it. That's what I'm taking.
I can't even talk to you about it because that's really who I prepared for.
All right, talk to me about it. Tell me how you feel.
I love the Ravens. I mean, I think getting Dobbins and Edwards back is going to be huge. First of all, I'm all in on big trust this year. I'm big trust season this season. I'm all in on the Ravens. They have the 31st hardest schedule when we look at starting quarterbacks. Let me run you guys through this real quick. On the Ravens schedule this year includes Zach Wilson, Daniel Jones, Trevor Lawrence, Jacoby Brissett, Marcus Mariota, Jameis Winston, and either Mitchell Trubisky or Kenny Pickett 2 times. Like it couldn't get any easier from an opposing quarterback perspective. I like the way the schedule shapes up. I like them getting guys back that are healthy. I like Dobbins to break out. I mean, he was already on that precipice of breaking out before he got hurt. Edwards mixes things up and helps them out a ton because we know how they like to move the ball on the ground and then kind of work Lamar and use Lamar's arm off of that. So I think that they get back to that offense this year. I love John Harbaugh. Sorry, I love John Harbaugh. He's got a 20 game.
I think he was a big milk guy.
No, but he's a big preseason guy. Like 20 straight preseason wins, big preseason guy. So I don't know what they're doing to prep for preseason games. So that'll be interesting to see if they keep going early. But no, love the Ravens. I got one. I had it down at 155 on DK when I looked today, locked it in. I would also look at the Ravens on the Super Bowl future too.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, if you here, I'll pull it up for you now. Like if you said, take your pick between Colts at 25-1, Ravens at 22-1, give me the Ravens.
How do you feel about the Ravens receivers?
We have to touch on this.
Sure. So you're losing Marquise Brown is big because of the relationship that he had with Jackson. I am buying in. Again, I'll do a little snippet preview for a couple weeks down the road. If we're looking mid-round guys that look to take the next step on the wide receiver depth chart on our fantasy draft boards, I like Rashad Bateman taking a step this year, second player, developing a relationship with Jackson and kind of help fill that void that's left behind by Marquise Brown. And what I think about the receivers, like they'll find some guys to make plays on the outside. They have a couple guys. I think, like I mentioned, Bateman taking another step up. We got one of the best tight ends in the game too. Mark Andrews. So you got, between the running game and the way they use Lamar, then that huge target in Andrews. The defense is always generally solid. I like the Ravens a lot.
Yeah, I'll be the one to not like the Ravens. Not that I don't like them. I would not bet against the Bengals in that division. They added O-linemen. They still have arguably the best receiving core in the league. I mean, offensive weapons everywhere. And their defense was hit or miss, but I can't trust Lamar throwing the ball to Rashad Bateman and Devin Duvernay. Like, I can't do that. I don't trust him as a thrower enough. I'm sure he'll go crazy, earn himself $250 million, run for 1,200 yards. But I don't trust his arm enough. And he's gonna have to make a couple good throws to win.
He's going to have to make a lot of good throws.
For sure.
But, okay. I'm going to start off with this. He fully bet on himself, and he relies on his legs. And we know he does not shy away from contact. That's a very bold move for a franchise quarterback in his position to bet on himself like that. So he's built different. A.
Does that help him throw the ball?
No, not at all. B, I want it to be known we have our recipe for success at TYP, and I think it's funny that two of ours, you and I, Sean, favorite plays is the Colts don't have a good wide receiver core. Rob's favorite play to come out of the AFC doesn't have a wide receiver core. And we're talking about there's a couple wide receiver cores in that conference that are loaded. Yeah. It doesn't matter. If you have the arm and the line and you give somebody 3 seconds, those dudes are getting open no matter who you are. I don't think the Ravens are going to win the Super Bowl. I do think the Ravens are going to have the culture, the defense, the grit, the coaching to definitely compete in that division. I do dislike the number that I saw at plus 160 to win that division. I think that division is going to be way more difficult.
That's come down in recent weeks. I've had an eye on that, and the Bengals were it was a little bit longer than that a couple weeks ago. It was closer to 2-1.
A team that we haven't talked about and a team that I think deserves more respect is the Steelers. They haven't had a losing season with Mike Tomlin, if I'm not mistaken.
The worst was 8-1.
Yeah.
Not a losing season.
For sure.
Right.
No, I was
You
adding
throw
to your
them in. You throw them in the mix, and then the Browns. God knows what's going on. I think that team, honestly, is way overhyped, regardless of Deshaun or not. But Deshaun's brought much worse teams to the playoffs in one divisions. So I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt, depending on if he even plays. But if he doesn't, that team's a train wreck. Steelers are tough.
Yeah,
Bengals are tough.
The quarterback, though. I mean, when it comes to Pittsburgh, it starts and ends with the quarterback this year. I mean, I know the defense is going to be good, right? It's Pittsburgh. You know, you TJ Watt, you got one of the best defensive players. There's a couple. I like Najee Harris. I think he's a solid back. I definitely think he's one of the premier workhorse backs. It's just, are you banking on Mitchell Trubisky to come in and win you a couple games? And we know what his ceiling is. It's not very high. And then you have the unknown in the rookie in Pickett. So I just think there's too many quarterback questions for me to invest, at least right now, in Pittsburgh. But I don't disagree that they're going to be a tough team, and that we know this division is always tough, regardless of how the teams are matching up going into the matchup, or even let alone the season. So I expect them to contend and be covering games, but the quarterback situations keep me away from investing in them preseason.
I'm not saying we invest, but we definitely can't count them out.
Yeah.
That adds a certain element of difficulty. So whoever it may be, the Ravens or the Bengals, whoever can get 2 wins against the Steelers wins that division. That's my opinion. And that's going to be tough. Sweeping the Steelers is going to be very difficult. I'd like to know, actually, this homework. Take your pick.
Last year. The Bengals.
Yeah, the Bengals. Yeah.
All right, Sean did his homework. All right, fans, you got to let off easy.
Joe.
Somebody's got to do around here.
Sean's been doing his homework. All right.
But on the Steelers, real quick, that offense they addressed the offensive line, which was their biggest weakness last year. They addressed that, and they bring in George Pickens, who I don't know how you guys feel, but that dude just looks like a fucking monster to me, coming out of Georgia. So, I mean, you have George Pickens. Yeah, him.
I know, Sean. How many times we talk about him?
Yeah.
That dude's going to be good.
He's a monster. Yeah. And then you add that with Deontay Johnson and Chase Claypool, perhaps Pat Freiermuth. I mean, a better offensive line, arguably the best running back in the NFL. I don't think Mitch is as bad as everybody makes it out to be. I mean,
I agree.
Some people make it seem like he's Mike White, like from the Jets last year. Like, I mean, the guy, I believe he was the quarterback when we played them in the playoffs, right?
Well, he brought
with the double doink.
They made him out to be Tim Couch.
Right.
Was it
Trubisky, that Trubisky, right?
Trubisky was there. It
might have been his rookie year, I think.
I mean, they had arguably that defense was
awesome.
Wild.
For sure.
Wild.
But the Steelers also brought in Miles Jack. You have Cam Hayward and TJ Watt. You have Minka in the backfield. I mean, it's Pittsburgh. They're going to show up and play defense. So if Mitch can score 21, 24 most weeks, I think they're going to be in decent shape.
I think 3 touchdowns more times than not will win them a football game.
They do have stuff. They have, like, to Sean's point, they have pieces around them. I mean, Deontay Johnson getting locked up is a big deal for them. Getting that taken care of before the season starts. I still like Chase Claypool. I think he's got enough there as a good second option. I don't know how much more you're going to get out of Miles Boykin, but he's there. And Pickens, like you said, Sean, like, he was a guy that we were talking about back on the draft cast is one of those next level wide receivers after those first couple guys that were at the top of the draft board, like the next best guy. And we know how well the Steelers do drafting wide receivers, and now you're telling me you got a second round talent out of Georgia going right to Pittsburgh, so it's like a match made in heaven for them.
Yeah, I already know how that works out.
Yeah, so I could see that working out real well. I mean, just look at their first 3 guys on their depth chart are Johnson, Claypool, Pickens, all their draft picks. So I think it's a good surrounding cast. It's just what are you going to get out of the quarterback?
Yeah, no, I couldn't agree more about them. I just don't know how the chips are going to fold with the quarterback situation. If there's a quarterback, they're calling for the rookie to come and play, and then that just derails the whole season. That's how I feel. But if Trubisky is able to just grind out some wins early, that season projects totally different in my eyes.
Where are they at?
Yeah, I think if we see Kenny Pickett by week 6, week 7, they're playing for the future. They're not going for the playoffs. They're punting early just to get their guy some reps.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, Mitch would – I mean, he's a veteran. He's been there. He's been in a playoff game. I don't think you throw some kid in from Pitt to just try and go win a pretty tough division.
No.
That kid's claim to fame is a fake slide. It has
Right.
nothing to do with his arm. All right. I mean, I'm just going to call a spade a spade.
What about 7?
He's-
Any interest? Any like lean one way or another on the 7 wins over under?
7 even?
7 even.
I would
I'll
take
take the
over
over.
on that.
I would take the over.
on that.
Over's got the juice at 125.
I think they're a 7 to 9 win football team. So if I get the push at 7, I don't see them winning only 6 games. I really don't. The culture, just the toughness, the coaching, it's just they don't lose. And even when they do lose, it's like 8-9, 8-1. Like they're not going to beat 6-11.
Yeah, if 8-8-1's the worst season you've had, God bless you.
In like 10 play in like over a decade. I mean, Mike Tomlin's been there for a while. It's not like 3 seasons.
Hold on, I gotta
He's got a
just
sample size.
quick glance. You start out, yeah, no, definitely give me the over on that. Definitely give me the over on that.
What's that? Their schedule?
Yeah, definitely. Division's tough. They play the Colts. I mean, like they have a tough schedule, but you already know they're going to split the 50-50 games.
They got the AFC East,
Um,
the NFC South, their division.
Yeah, and the NFC South is what makes me feel take the over. You're getting 2 free ones for sure. The Falcons are a train wreck, and the Panthers just do not have what it takes to beat the Steelers. Panthers might beat somebody else that's same talent-wise, but not culturally. Steelers are going to smoke the Panthers.
A lot of sneaky love on the Panthers this preseason. We'll get into it, but I don't know. It's weird.
No, let them be sneaky.
Yeah, talk about quarterback questions.
Yeah,
I don't hate the play. I personally like have a hard time ever betting against Pittsburgh just because they're zombies. They don't die. They don't go away. Like they just don't. Like it's just for whatever reason. I'm not banking on them to win the division or go much further than those 7 wins, but I think it's an interesting play on the over.
Yeah, that's all I have officially. I'm very eager to use our golf earnings to throw something else on this other division. I have no feel for how this one's going to go.
Well, it's because you have an outlier. So you got Buffalo sitting at minus 225. Like I would make a play on Miami at 450 to keep it interesting. A sprinkle, maybe win a unit or two, but right, like at that point, I feel like I'm forcing it. Like I see no value on the division board in that division. I will say that if we're looking for value there, I'm fading the Patriots this year. I'm not afraid to say it. I'm not afraid to say it. I'll come out and say, I know people say this every year. This is the year. This is the year. There's trouble for brewing in Foxborough. And I'm going to tell you what, they're going to have a hard time protecting their quarterbacks this year. That offensive line is in trouble. You go on, I happen to be just scrolling through today. You look at Foxborough, New England beat reporters reporting from training camp today. It's ugly. That offense is looking ugly, and their offensive line is in serious trouble. Beside the offensive line, they have the highest wide receiver tight end salary cap hit this year, $70 million. You know who their wide receivers and tight ends are? I'll tell you, Nelson Aguilar, Kevin Bourne, Devontae Parker they added, Jacoby Myers, Hunter Henry, solid tight end, and then Jonnu Smith. $70 million cap hit this year, number 1 in the NFL for pass catchers. That's where your $70 million's going. With that cast of characters, and there's O-line problem. Mac Jones. I'm okay with under 9.5. There's a little bit of juice at 135. Give me the under 9.5 on the Patriots.
Yeah, and to your point, Rob, I don't know that I agree as strongly as you do, but to your point, they lost Josh McDaniels to the Raiders, and they never replaced an offensive coordinator. I mean, Bill Belichick is their offensive coordinator right now, so who's also doing all the defensive stuff. So, I mean, I don't know, maybe Mac Jones doesn't have someone to get in his ear, or you never know what the relationship is like with that. So that could hurt them in the long run.
Yeah, I mean, I think that continuity definitely, right? Like,
yeah,
especially on the offensive side, if you're and if Belichick's just kind of overreaching a little bit, I don't know. I mean, we've seen him reload so easily before, right? And the guys that leave just don't have that success, and Belichick just reloads. But I don't know, man. I'm starting to think more and more that when we talk about that pairing, you realize like how much of an impact Brady really had. Like I get it, Belichick. Don't get me wrong, and Mike, I assume the first best football mind you referred to earlier today was Belichick before Andy Reid, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so
right.
So like I'm not trying to discount the man. Like I'm not saying the guy like it's definitely toast, but I just think I think now more than ever is the time to fade him.
Okay, I have a question. You think the Dolphins come out, kick open the doors, and beat the Patriots week 1?
Yes. Cold bet right now. What's that line?
What's the line on it?
Can't
be more than 3. Where's it at? Oh, it depends where it's at.
It's in Miami.
Dolphins are just under a field goal, -2.5 in Miami. I'll bet that right now.
Bro, I'll take it. What do you want?
Yeah.
It's straight money. I'll
now
take it.
There's a little juice. You got -115 on the Dolphins. They know, but
I'll give you the Dolphins -2.5 for free.
Oh, you're giving
Yeah, I'll give you the Dolphins. I'll take that.
Cool. Yeah. All right, we'll go straight up on that. Yeah.
All
right, cool.
Okay. I have a question. I have no feel for the Patriots. I have no feel. I feel like it's so hard to rule them out. But what I watched them do to Buffalo, where it's like we're going to run the ball every play. What the fuck are you gonna do?
That was ugly.
That was ugly.
That was bad. Yeah,
so Sean, that's your that's the best team in football.
Yeah, for sure. And then they played them again and beat the shit out of them. Yeah.
So Bill's gonna win some chess games, for sure. I can't count them out.
For sure.
But Rob, the issues you just brought to my attention are very, very concerning. I'm not buying the Dolphins. I'm just not.
If I'm not mistaken, I think Jones had 20 drop packs and 11 today. A quarter of them were a sack or a hurry. I think 5 of them were completions. Like it was just like I was just reading. Like I think it might have been like Warren Sharp who had a thread on like the Patriots today, and he had mentioned the cap stuff, and then like on top of it, it's like, oh shit, this is going down today, and there's just screenshots of all these different reporters at New England camp today, just like what is like just describing the mess that's happening there on offense, and I'm like, oh boy.
See, you find that on every team besides like who the national darling is, and it's like how great they look in every preseason rep. It's retarded. It's ridiculous. I'm sorry. Okay, let's go to another ridiculous organization. I have a question. New York Jets over under 5.5.
My gut says over.
Me too.
My gut says over.
He's a good draft.
Where I don't have that. Do you have a juice on that?
Over 5.5 is -160.
Oh yeah, all right, that makes sense. Yeah. Hold on, here we go.
Why are the Jags at 6.5 and the Jets are at 5.5? It seems sketchy to me.
Especially with
schedule related.
Year 2.
You get maybe Texans wins because the Jets have no free wins in their division. Well, free.
They'll get one against the Dolphins.
No, yeah, for sure. But I'm just saying there's no one that you're going to run down the schedule and be like, oh, that's definitely a win.
Let's run through it.
In the division, I'm saying.
In the division, no, you're not getting a free one now.
Right.
Absolutely not. Holy smokes. They might not have a win in the first 9 weeks. But there is light at the end of the tunnel. They play the Bears, the Lions, the Jags, the Seahawks after the bye.
That's 4 wins on paper.
So do they sneak out another 2 somewhere? I think they'll have at least one divisional win somewhere.
Agreed.
So then you're at 5. So who else do they steal one from? And honest to God, so they played the Dolphins the last week of the season. And that's going to determine whether or not the Dolphins make the playoffs or not. Give me the Jets money line. Week 18.
I'm not mad at that. I think they fight this year. I mean, I don't want to put any type of money on them for a whole season because I don't trust Zach Wilson enough, but they're starting to really load up in the talent area. I mean, they're not like the typical New York Jet. I mean, if everything pans out the way that people think it's going to pan out. I mean, it's tough to grade 21-year-olds who never played an NFL snap, but
I agree with you. It looks good on paper. It's getting there at least.
Right. They're heading in the right direction for sure.
Yeah, to your point, Sean, like they're accumulating, stockpiling enough talent, and I think Philadelphia fans such as ourselves, we would put as much trust in Joe Douglas as anybody, and I think that's a great fit for them, especially with Salah. So I really like that pairing, and I think the talent is really starting to accumulate to where it's like, how do you not eclipse 4.5? I don't know. It's tough with the schedule we just looked at. AFC East, AFC North.
It is tough.
Yeah, so it's tough, but we can't. I mean, it looks like it gets easier on the back half, and actually, like as they kind of come into their own throughout the season, maybe they just do pick up their stride. Maybe in the back half of the season, that's where we see them start to pick up some of those wins. But like you said, Mike, if they could pick up 2 in those first 8 weeks, like you're probably you're counting yourself ahead on that bet.
If they get 2 before the bye, I think that's an easy cover, realistically.
Now that we're talking about this, though, I think they did just lose Mekhi Becton, their left tackle.
They did
today or yesterday. Yeah.
Was that today?
Yeah. So that's tough.
Yeah, especially
that's very problematic, especially with a young quarterback.
Yeah, I want no parts of them for maybe a game here and there, but I'll pick my spots with them. I don't want a season-long future for them.
Yeah. Well, are there any other bets you guys want to throw in? Any official plays on anybody?
No, we ran through it. So, Mike, I got you at Colts. Throw me the Ravens. Sean, Super Bowl pick out of the AFC.
Don't get
the Bengals
quiet
aren't
on
going to
me
go
now.
back. I want to say the Bengals so bad, but the Bengals aren't going to go back.
Tough.
But the AFC West is going to be so beat up. I'm going to say the Bills.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard not to.
It's cute. It's cute. Yeah.
No, but I mean, they're one of the best teams in the league. So,
Bro, you put a gun in my head right now. It's like pick somebody to win the Super Bowl. I don't really are. Just Josh Allen and the Buffalo Bills.
Yeah, right.
That team lost the game twice in 2 minutes.
They're hungry.
And they would have beat the wheels off of the Rams.
How long is their window open for? Josh Allen, the Bills, how many
this year?
Is this the year or?
But you can't be expected to win the Super Bowl every year and come up a little bit. Like you're just seeing it happen. It didn't happen to Andy. It's got to be this year.
Wait, how long have they been expected to win the Super Bowl though?
The last 2. Dude, there's been hype around that team. Every time they play the Chiefs, it's got that Super Bowl vibe to it.
Yeah, but they've been behind the Chiefs and Bucks the last 2 years, like odds on, right? Like they're not hands down favorite. Like they're not under.
Have you seen what they do to tables up in Buffalo?
Oh, I respect it.
Yes. No, I haven't. Why don't you show me? What do they do?
I know I got back problems. I want no problem. I want no parts of the table. I think it's Super Bowl or bust for them, and if not, it's going to be a major problem in that organization if they don't get that done this year. Are we just going to drag it out for the next 5? You guys disagree?
I don't disagree. Sean McDermott's got to look behind his back. If there's an early exit or if they underperform in the playoffs again, yeah, I'd look out.
Yeah, I mean that's how it's Super Bowl or bust. I'm pulling for them. I like the Bills. If we should make that just a team official play, Buffalo Bills Super Bowl.
Yeah, but they are the favorite though, aren't they? It's like plus 400 or something.
500. Yeah, it's 5-1.
Yeah,
I don't even think there's
value. I don't want to be the one to miss that.
But if you lose 2 games early or something, it'll shake out. You'll probably get better odds. I just don't think that's a great bet.
No, I agree. You can't put that in now. Too many things that could go wrong. Also, with them, they're not going to get the number 1 seed.
Yeah.
Just with that division, the Colts realistically have to get the number 1 seed. That's how I feel about it. You have 4 free wins, probably 5. No one else in the AFC has that. You get the 1 seed. The Bills are going to be grinding. They're going to have to play the AFC West winner, whomever it may be. Maybe it's the Chiefs. Maybe I'm wrong. but I'm putting my hard-earned money on them.
You're not
to make
wrong.
the playoffs. I don't think they make the playoffs.
They're not making the fucking playoffs. No way.
I agree. Like, dude, that team stinks.
So
besides Patrick Mahomes.
So who?
And
Wait.
Travis
So who
Kelce.
do you guys have? Who are sneaking? So you have two teams from the West. You have Chargers, and then what? Probably Raiders over the Chiefs going in as a wild card,
That's probably what I would say.
right?
I have the Raiders winning that
Or
division. I have the Chargers getting in on a wild card because it's baby steps with them. They won't win the division. And then after that, honest to God, there's no rhyme or reason as how this could fold out.
No,
It's just,
the way it's shaping up, I'm looking at. You got one team coming out of the South in the Colts. You got the Ravens and Bengals who are going to compete for that division and a wild card. You have the Dolphins and Bills in New England competing for that division and wild card, and then you have Chargers. You have the entire West competing for a playoff spot and the division.
yeah, it's a lot of teams.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, 3 teams from the West, like we saw in the NFC last year, 3 teams from the West could make the playoffs, and the Chiefs still not make the playoffs.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't see it.
Yeah, give me that at plus money. Give me that at plus money. That's my favorite bet going into the AFC this season. Boys, that just felt good. I could do this for like 3 more hours.
It's back.
I could do it for
It's
6 more
back.
months. Yeah.
We're
It's back. I could wait, and we're gonna do it for 6 more months. Boys, that was great. Yeah, stay tuned. We have the NFC preview coming up soon. Until next time, everybody.